Hey guys. Gosh, mixed crowd here. Mike from Cornwall, g'day. Joseph Durdick, good day. Good to see you both. Rustanox, good to see you. Good to see you on the mend. Craig's Workshop. Peter Nottle, I think I saw. JB, g'day. Dan Shed, hello. Oh, Dan Shed, g'day. It's home. Go and subscribe to Dan Shed. You should check that out. He's been promising videos and it should be a really good channel. So check him out. I don't think he's got sorry, very much up yet, but you should go and check him out. And give him some encouragement and say, why aren't you putting videos up? Because you've got some cool content to put up. John Creasy, g'day. Matty, g'day. Someone's got a new toy. That's awesome. More information. Man Cave Glen, g'day. Machine NZ, go and check out Machine NZ's video, new TMC 2020, from someone who said that they weren't going to bother, or they weren't going to have, excuse me, weren't going to have much time. He's done pretty well. It's a good video. Necklace Workshop, g'day. Tom. Gosh, mixed crowd, really. Anyway, say that every week. It's the same crowd, so there you go. Wazza must be there too somewhere. G'day. Richard Mag, g'day. Don't you have my sticker? Glenn, I'll have to send you one. That's a bit poor. I've got a bit of a cough. It's not corona. I think I've got a cold. It's a bit cold here. I haven't been sleeping particularly well, but we'll see how we go tonight. Anyway, it's all good. What's happening? Not a lot. It's the 22nd, which means that you've got about a week, something like that. 22nd, 29th, you've got a bit over a week for TMC 2020. You do, Tom? Send me one when you do. Excuse me. Anyway, you've got a bit over a week. So we've got a lot of entries. There was 2 new ones this week. One from Machine NZ, which is an awesome video with some rope knurls and all that sort of gear. As you do. No TMC 2020 video should be complete without rope knurls. And what else did we get? One from... Gosh, some angle plates. I put the link there right at the top of the chat. So if you come back and watch it a bit later on when it's processed, well, it's right there. So you should go and check it. But they're all in the... They're all in the playlist. And the playlist is in the description too. So check that out. Bonkoff is what it is. Yes, exactly. You've got it, Warren. You're speaking my language. Oh, and there was a Craig's Workshop one too. Yeah, I didn't include it because it ended up here last week. But yeah, it's since last Wednesday. That's awesome. There's Craig's Workshop one. Sorry, but yeah, if you've seen my update video, which no one did, there's only about 250 watches, and there's more watches in live stream normally, so I don't know what the story is there. No one went and saw it, but you're missing something because it's a shout out to all those great guys that bothered to enter. And Craig managed to get in on top of that. He made some hold downs for a vice. I'd like some hold downs like that, but my vice hasn't got grooves along the side, so I'm still thinking about that. Bit of an oversight when I bought it. Brian Morris, g'day. It's the taking part that counts, say someone with an awesome video. Your audio is a bit crap. I shouldn't say that. Your audio isn't so good in places. Kevin, if anyone wants to eat it before the end of the week and send me an update, I'd be happy to include it. So if you want to spend the time, or if you're totally sick of it and never want to see it again, any edits we'll take into consideration. Ted Rosa, g'day. Marcus Christensen. Check out Marcus too. There's a couple of metal subscribers here. A couple of metal suppliers here. You should check them out. Marcus got a lot of bronze and brass down there. He's here on the Gold Coast. Hit him up on Facebook or on Gumtree or wherever, and if you look for some brass or some bronze offcuts, he's the guy. Glenn's here too from Man Cave Metals. If you're looking for tool steel or hard stuff or any sort of steel or cast iron, he's your guy. Yeah, the rope knurl's pretty cool though. You've got to go and watch Kevin's video for the rope knurl, if nothing else. Personal Facebook got deleted twice, which gives you a measure of the man, really. It's, yeah, he posts a lot of crap and people don't like it. That's all it is. But anyway. We're all friends. I'm going to stir the lot of you tonight. Sorry. There you go. There's an update on the Gold Coast Richard King course. So, but anyway, if you want a bit of a refresher, Marcus does courses down here, so he's pretty good. He's a pretty easy guy to get along with, really. His personal space, he gets in your personal space a bit, but he's not too unbearable, really. Big, strong guy. Bit intimidating, but nice guy. If you want to go check out Christensen Machine Works on Facebook, or he's probably got a YouTube channel you could contact him through, or I think he's on Gumtree too. But anyway, he's all right. He's probably laughing. But anyway. Maddie's got ute problems. Saw that. Nice job of that manifold. A little bit impressed, Matt. Not an easy job as it looks, I don't think. Milling the face of a manifold like that. but looks like you did all right in that little mill. Glenn's going to have a website. That would be pretty awesome. He's going to have links to all the channels that send him stickers. So send him some stickers, everyone. Good video from Clark this weekend at Windy Hill Foundry. Probably. I saw one from Keith Rucker, but I don't think I saw one from Clark. But anyway, I probably didn't look. Dennis Nolan, good day. Good morning. Good to see you. Gosh, I think you're the first person here who's an Australian. Oh no, Mike was here before. And Joseph Durder's here too. He's from the States. There you go. Good to see you. Kevin's from New Zealand. Yeah, I know, but that's Australia, sort of. We accept him as being not such a bad sort of a person. Oh, in the Necklace Workshop here too. He's Australian. And Richard Mayer. Gosh. Oh, there we go. And there's Nigel too. A new video up this week from Nigel on making crankshafts, which is rather topical around here. Crankshafts. Someone asked about crankshafts. I'm upsetting everyone. I'm in that sort of mood. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm in that sort of mood. You should post more videos, and then I'd get to know you and know where you're from. That's where we're at with that. Had crankshaft problems, mostly because the center hole in the crank web was not drilled or bored straight with the crank pin. I think that was where the problem started. I'm suspicious that I didn't pick that up until now. So the crank was about 20 thou out of concentricity with the rest of the crankshaft of the crank journal. So took it down and got someone to grind it properly. So that'll make a good job out of it. And that'll get us all back on track. And I think everything will have fixed all the problems. I think that was the main problem. So we're on top of that, I think. There we go. Hopefully by next week we'll have a new cranky in and the conrod all in and the piston all in. Here's Chris. Chris is from California. Old Iron Shops. Go and check him out too. Don't need a new conrod. No, probably need a new bush. That's about where we're at with that. Conrod should be fine. Probably going to put a new bush in it. Joseph asks about the bush turning. That's a really good question. And it's going to have a bit thicker bush than it's got here at the moment. So when it does, we're going to put a set screw in from the back here, just to lock it in place to stop it turning, I think, and locate it the same place every time and stop it moving sideways. So that's what I'm probably going to do, is put a set screw in there. This has got an oil hole in it this week, in the little end or the gudgeon. And the new pin the pin's finished. I actually made a pin which has got Teflon ends. There we go, Teflon ends, one each end. To stop them marking if it does float, which I don't think it will, it's a pretty good fit in the piston, but if it does float, stop it marking the bore on each end. So that's all we're going to do for wrist pin retention, I think, at this point. Now this hole's oiled or lubricated through this one. It's got a hole in the top of the piston here which wipes on the hole for the oiler. It does actually line up, which I'm a little bit impressed about, but that's, if you can see, in underneath there, and as it wipes that should oil this, and it seems to work okay, so I'm fairly happy with that. That's where we're at with the state of play, really. How did I do the Teflon ends? They're pressed in. This is just a bit of O1 or a bit of silver steel, and I machined each end and drilled it, and then I made Teflon ends a fraction oversized, and they pressed in really nice and tight. And basically all I did was machine them down to a radius on the end, and I think they'll be plenty good. I think if your gudgeon was too big diameter compared to the bore, you might find that it was going to touch here on the ends, but because it's only fairly small, it'll touch here on the middle first. So hopefully that's plenty good enough. That's where I'm at with that. Stuart, good day. So next job really is piston rings for here. This is all in bits as we speak. It's all been pulled apart. See, there's the water jacket in underneath for anyone who hasn't seen that. There's a water jacket hole there and a water jacket hole in the top. So there's pipes in the top which are going to go to a little radiator, I think, of some sort. This is solid all the way through there. I'm not sure if that was apparent to most people, but this is solid. And you've got on this side, we've got the crank, the bearing for the crank, which is straight in the cast iron, and the bearing for the cam, which is also straight in the cast iron. And we've got 2 points here, which is where the push rod mounts. This one's for the oiler up here. And if we have a look, there's the bore, which I'm pretty happy about, really. There's some oil streaks in there. I don't think it's actually scratches. I'm hoping it's not scratches. But I think it's just oil streaks there. So that all sits on this casting, which is aluminium, because I couldn't be bothered shipping an iron one across, and I did this locally here. Like that. No, you haven't. Radiator's sort of on the back burner for a minute. Cast rings, Joseph. Yes, I think we've got a piece of cast iron for that. Thinking of you, Rust and Ox. It's good to see you here, and it's good to see you home. This bolts on here like this. The spark plug in that top face. We drop that. And not even. It's a slippery thing. And valves come out through the front, and it's got 2 port the manifold bolts on the bottom here with 1 bolt in the center. So that's getting close to being where we're at with that. So, Chuck Kirshner got in touch with me, who's a patron of mine. Great guy. Said, I'm sending you a box. Do you have a buzz coil? So, this, I believe, came from another YouTuber. I'm going to have to go back and check. I'm sorry which one it was. I don't think it's anyone here, but it is someone I follow. There'll be more details about that later. It's got a funny rattle in this, which I don't like, but I'm hoping the wax hasn't dried out too much. But he sent a buzz coil, and he says it's all been tested and sorted, so... Where did I source the Teflon from? Gosh, who had Teflon? Offcuts Galore in Sydney. I bought the material, which is 10mm 01 for the axles for the railway locomotive tender, and this come with it, so it wasn't very expensive. Heat treat rings, good question. I'm not sure. There's two schools of thought on that. I'm still thinking that through, Joseph. Take care, Chris. Ed might work, but Teflon's probably the best as PTFE. It wasn't difficult to find, so I think you'd find a bit without any problems, and it machined beautifully. Subs counter. Yeah, got broken. It's not working at the moment. Now, Presso has one that does work, so I'm going to get in touch with Mark Presling and say, why does yours work and mine not? And we'll get to the bottom of it. Probably Teflon has a bit higher heat tolerance too, maybe. But I'm not sure about that. I think there could be an update. I'm going to sort of look into that at some point when I've got time. So this has had wipers soldered on it, which are kind of okay. These clips soldered on here. I've never had much success with soldering these on these. I had one once that was soldered on and the wax inside melted pretty easy. So I wasn't particularly... These are potted in wax and they don't seem to last particularly well when they're soldered. But this might do to test it. But what I think I'm probably going to do is clean this box up and make another finger joint or a metal box or something to sit it in on the engine carriage, just so it slides in and contacts here and here and here, and put proper terminals on it so that we can use it properly and permanently. But this one is supposed to work and a mechanic got this sorted, so hopefully. I'm not putting a battery on it and going to lick it or anything like that. I've had a mess with these before and I know what they'll do. It's kind of a bit scary, but that works on the wiper here on the end. So electric system basically is done once we've got a box for this. So pretty happy with that. And there's the spark plug there. And that's the cam for the wiper. It's got a brass contact and the wiper just picks up on that. So that's dovetailed in there into a piece of mylar or some sort of phenolic. So there we go. Anyway, it wasn't expensive, Kevin, at all. Do we know compression ratio? Thanks so much, Joseph, for the compression ratio thing. I did check it. I think we're about 8 or 9 to 1 at this point, as far as I could work out. When I've got everything made, I might recalculate it, but I think we're about 8 to 9 to 1, so that should be plenty. As long as we've actually got rings that work. You're going to be wired by the time you get that much Red Bull into your Marcus. I'm just saying, you're going to be dangerous. But I think it's about about 8 or 9 to 1. Hey, Brian. So that's where we're at with that engine. I think we've got it sorted to the next level, which is getting piston rings in and getting some sort of compression and getting the head bolted on. Getting very close. It didn't take a lot of machining. It was really very, very easy to get a good finish on and very, very easy to machine, to be honest. Look, it was a piece of cake. It was a lot easier than I was expecting. I was expecting it to shrink and stuff. Next question. Next thing, Ted, thanks. Next item. We're all over the show here. Ted sent me a picture of some lawn sprinklers. And inside they've got a big spring in them. So that's what I use to reassemble the tapping machine. So it works. It works fairly well. I haven't got a camera and a light set up over there, so I'm not even going to go over there and show you. But it's pretty effortless. That's an M5 hole. Tap them through. Pretty good. I sort of experimented. A couple of them aren't all the way through, which was pretty good. This one is sort of bottoms on the bottom like a T-nut. I really wanted to be able to do that, just put a thread through to the last little bit with it. So height and depth adjustment and everything's awesome, really. So we've got that working, and I've ordered a block of aluminium to make a pallet for the mill. So we might see a video on that. So huge thanks, Ted. That's awesome. Hey, Casual Steel. Oh, awesome, Brian. It's come a long way. It's getting together. We're at the point, I think the next YouTube video going on YouTube with it, and it is a bit behind, but the next one, machine the flywheel, what was next? we are starting on actual machining in bits for it. Same thing, casual steel. It is exactly the same thing. It has been restored at some point, Craig, and the tapping machine's been put back together wrong and incomplete. So how thick was the wire in the sprinkler? It's about 1.2, 1.4. They're fraction long and there's a couple extra coils on them, so it might be 1.8 wire. They took a bit of getting in there, so they might be a little bit long. If I see something better, I might swap them over at some point. But the sprinkler springs were about 1.25 inch diameter and about 70 mil long. They might have been a fraction long. And yeah, 1.5, 1.8 or something, 1.5 mil wire, something like that. And stainless steel, so they should be good. Which tapping machine? It is a Hipswell tapping machine. There you know as much as I do. It's Australian made. It's about it's a bit after World War II. It might be 60s, but it's not a bad machine. There will be a video at some point. I've ordered a piece of 1 inch by 160 by 20, I think 160 by 25, something like that. Aluminium to make a mill pallet over there. So that's a project for at some point, because we all need more projects here, and that'll be pretty easy, I think, and probably fairly useful. The table on the mill is just a little bit too narrow for most work, so another 30 mil over the edge would be really helpful sometimes, even for light work. Hey Stefan, it's good to see you. It's the man with the new grinder, which we were a little bit jealous of. Take care, Russ Knox. Good to see you. I don't think he's done anything except grind tools for about a week, but he'll get over it at some point. And yeah, speaking of new tools, Maddie's got about the oldest Cincinnati mill that most people have ever seen. So that's pretty awesome, and it looks like to be in reasonable condition. It's pretty easy going, but when Mr. Gotteswinter holds a grudge, he never lets go, so just be careful of that. I've never seen it, but maybe that's true. What else? I got a sticker today too. There you go. There's today's news. This come with the buzz coil was passed on. 805 Road King sticker, so that'll go up here. He's got a pretty cool channel actually. I've been following him for a little while. So this is a pretty cool sticker. 805 Road King does a lot of messing around with engines and making custom stuff and that sort of stuff. So it's a pretty cool channel. $25 hard. 25 Rockwell is hard. I mean, I can't even measure that with my hardness tester files. Talking of hardness tester files, there was a set donated as a prize by Tommy Gun Machining, which was a pretty awesome thing for him to do. And this year, some of the past winners. I think we're going to need probably a new rule too next year. So Tom better hope he doesn't win, because I think we're going to have a rule that says you can only win a certain amount of time. So, however, there's a video from Alistair still coming. So there you go. Hey, Stephen Lang, g'day. Yeah, make your own tattoo gun with a buzz coil. And hadn't thought of that, to be honest, but there you go. That's an interesting sort of use for it. This is the ignition system for this engine. Was it? You're a legend. Everyone else should too. And you have 8+ days. That's exactly right. Bit over a week. Abe did it. You might be that person. You might be the winner. There's also a Noga stand and a Michitoyo indicator, really nice black and white units Michitoyo indicator, which would be very nice to have here. That's awesome. That's another prize. There's also, speaking of which, Mr. Deckel Grinder himself, Stefan, has donated or promised a set of precision ground flat stones. So they're pretty nice to have. You won't get one of them anywhere else outside their EU. So it's a pretty good opportunity there, because you won't get one of them if you don't live in Europe. And that's all you English now. You don't live in Europe. So you've cut your feet off there a little bit. But you've got to enter, and you've got to be pretty good. There's some really awesome videos there in the mix as it is. It's impossible at this stage to say who will win. I'm thinking too about donating something as a prize as well, but I haven't really thought about that. I've got a couple of sets from Stephen Lang, and they're awesome. I've got one set from Stephen Lang, a couple of stones, and they're awesome too. Very useful thing to have. But be able to say, these are Stefan stones is pretty awesome. So thanks for that, Stefan. I think there's a bit of work in them. Maybe you should make a video, Nigel. Buy a chocolate, Kevin. That always fixes dishwashers. Bio chocolate and roses. Oh, wow, Casual. Okay. Let us know. So there we go. That's where we're at with that. Tapping machines going. What else? What else? Hopefully there's a grinder at some point in my life too, and I think it's not all that far away. So I've got a few things to do before that. That's all we need is a tidal wave. Scraping group. Get on if you're on Facebook. Go and check them out, or hit up Marcus Christensen. He'll add you. If you can put up with them. We could. Only the previous winner could enter. We'll see. We'll see. You guys are all got to get your game up a bit, because the previous winners are sort of hard to. Phil Kerner's got some good videos. The Tool and Die guy, he's got some good videos. You should go and check him out. He's got some videos on some interesting stuff, technical drafting and stuff like that. Robin has some pretty good videos too, but I get complexes about having to rebuild my machine if I watch Robin's stuff. I can't wait to see his next video on the deburring machine. That looks like it's a pretty cool thing to have. Robin Renzetti. Warren, it's another subscription you should have. Yeah, it's all a bit shiny for me. I'm not into that. It's the deburring tool looks a bit shiny, but I guess if that's your thing. Oh, what else has happened? Went shopping yesterday. Oh, yeah, Monday I went shopping. Bought some silver steel, so that's pretty exciting. Need silver steel, stocking up a bit in case we have to build a boiler for that over there at some point. What else to buy? How's it going? Chef Rex, check him out on Twitch. He streams on Twitch, Modern Engineering. Silver solder, 45%. That's almost impossible to get. But Actual Parts in Australia, who do air conditioning supplies, they're the people to see about that. And it's cheap at the moment. Silver's cheap at the moment. For some reason, silver solder seems to be a lot cheaper than it was 12 months ago. Not sure why. How's it going? We've got a tender here. We're ready to start with wheels and axles now. We've got a new chuck on the lathe. This tender's starting to look reasonably good. Got some riveting, got castings and bits on it. We've got front and rear buffer beams. Next is probably wheels and axles, I think, and axle boxes. But I didn't want to start the wheels until I had reverse jaws for a 3-jaw chuck, and I've got that now. So at some point we might, but we're probably going to get some compression on this first. What colour is the tip? I think it's gold tip, is it? Yellow tip, gold tip, I think. That's what they call that. 45%. Yeah, I've got no idea either. It is a lot cheaper than it used to be. And it mustn't just be an Australian thing, because it seems like I only paid about 3/4 of the price I paid last time I bought solder. Not even, probably a bit over half, two thirds of the price. So that's a bit of a bargain, I thought. So I bought about $100 worth. Um, what else? Oh, I went and bought this. Now, without trying to turn this into a Stefan Gottswinner indicator sort of project, whereas we probably could, but I don't want to play favourites. But the people who did offer drawings for TM's 2020, I made these are for sale, so I'm not going to show them in detail. You can screenshot that if you like. I did make an effort to actually support those creators that were offering drawings. You probably should too. Not playing favourites, but they are good drawings and they had excellent projects. So, who else made drawings? Nigel at Go Create Hobby Machine Shop. So, yeah, time to find out. Anyway, I printed some drawings. Anyway. JB included 3D models. I've got to get a 3D printer again, though. Take care, Mike. Good to see you. Thanks for the update, Casual Steel. These drawings are on the TMC 2020 video in the description for Tommy Gun Machining's entry on both videos, I think. He's got these on Etsy and they're pretty good. Everything looks fantastic on them. Pretty excited about that. The other ones were Nigel at Go Create for his floating remote holder, and that looks good too, and that's another project that I'd like to make at some point, and I've got the drawings. So he wanted some cash for the privilege of downloading them, or some support, and I think that's pretty fair. Even if you just slip in $5, I think he'd be pretty happy with that, and I think they're worth it. Full set of prints. Yeah, well, that's cool, JB. JB's done it too. So if you want to make a pretty awesome looking little benchtop laser engraver or laser cutter, that might be a pretty awesome as well. Anyway, bought the bearings. Looking at these, they look fairly expensive and fairly hard to get. There's a roller bearing, and that's what I was sort of worried about. I went and got prices because I was thinking, gosh, I bet they're expensive. So there's a needle roller and an inner to save you hardening and grinding the race for it. And there's I think it's angular contact sort of deep race ball bearing there. Anyway, everyone wants to know, what are the bearings worth? Well, my local supplier had them in stock, so there's no excuses now. I'm probably not going to get to it anytime very quickly, but I've got the bits there in case I find a bit of stock that might work for it. $28 Australian for the complete set, so that's pretty reasonable. Hey Malcolm, yeah, hit me up on Facebook. I can enter you. I can add you there. Yes, we have a local bearing supplier and a local bolt supplier. They're next door to each other, and they're pretty helpful with most things. I thought that was pretty common, actually. Okay. Anyway, they had those in stock, which I was pretty impressed about. I think they had 4 inners and 7 outers, and a dozen of those in stock. And they were $28 Australian, which is about $16, $17, $18 US, something like that. Not even $16 US. So it's a good little project without a lot of outlay. There's a lump of 4140. Hit up Man Cave for that. And you're away. And there's only, I think there's 3 bits in it. So there's 3 fairly precise machining parts and some interesting setups. But apart from that, it's a pretty easy build. What diameter is needed? Really good question. 48, so 50 mil roughly. There you go. 48 diameter and 48 diameter. I think you've got to have 2 bits 48 and 1 bit. Gosh, just reading this drawing. Terrible, difficult to read. No, they're really good drawings actually. And 1 bit 26. So 2 bits 48 that are only... One's 36 mil wide. Take some notes. One's 36 mil long and one's 40. Oh. Just looking at this. Gosh, I missed a page. I'm not going to show you the drawings. You can buy them. One's 36 mil long. There's the other page. And one's 36 mil long. So one's 38 and one's 36. Maybe Man Cave might do up a bit of a project kit if I slip him the dimensions and do a price on it and cut all the bits to length for you. Except he hasn't got any 48. There you go. So if he does that, maybe we could... I'd be interested in a kit anyway. If you buy and make all the bits. There's 4140, so that's awesome. Fixed. But it's a pretty good little project. The other one is for Nigel's project too. I've got drawings for that, but I haven't got them printed out. I haven't really looked at it very closely. At some point I would like to make one of those too. But yeah, there's options. It'd be fine in mild steel. That's exactly right. I know Stefan and I know John have made the Hemingway kits one, and that come up pretty nice. But it's quite a lot more complicated than this as a build, so, and I think this would be a much cheaper thing to build and pretty quick. Anyway, that's a project for some time. I ordered a piece of sheet for a pallet for the mill. I've got all the materials to go on with the tender and put axles under that. I've got cast iron for rings for this, and I've got everything just about that I need to finish this, so I'm not waiting for anything except this crank to be ground, and hopefully that'll be back next weekend and I can do some work with that. So all full speed ahead here. Actually have to get out of bed on the weekends and do something. Anyway, look for more purchases in the future, Dennis says. That's very true. I've got some 10mm round high-speed steel already. Got a couple of lengths here, so I've sort of had them earmarked for a little while. This seems quite a lot more chunky. Just looking at Tom's design, I think it's pretty sort of beefy compared to the Hemingway one, but it probably could be a little bit bigger too if you wanted to do bigger sizes. But most of what I'll be doing, I guess, is probably smaller than about 4 or 5mm hex and square. Anyway, there we go. So that's what's happening here. The other big thing here, can we show the first 2 pages? I guess so. There's page 1. Page 2, no dimensions on that either. But that's how it goes together. It's pretty straightforward. There's the 3 parts. The spindle, and the body, and a back plate which has got the angle on it. It's got a cutter in the front there. It's held together with set screws, 4 set screws. And it's got a shank to go in a chuck. I think mine will probably have a Lorch taper on mine. That might be a good thing to do to minimise overhang. And it's got a bearing inner and outer, and 2 bearings in it. So It's fairly compact design. It's only 92 millimeters, about, what would be about 50 millimeters, something like that, to the back of the back plate. So it's not a bad thing. I'm a little bit impressed with it. Got the drawings too for the floating reamer holder from Go Create. That's a nice build as well. It does show the overall diameter. Here, 48 millimeters is the overall diameter and 92 overall length. So there we go. Take care, Stefan. Have an amazing day. Yeah, more videos, please. There we go. Anyway, no pressure. That's what's going down. TMC videos, really enjoyed all of them. There's some pretty good stuff there. Everyone's improved on the videos they offered up last year, and I think most people have made an effort to make a video that's a little bit better than their normal standard anyway. So I was really impressed about that. And good on you guys. It's really pretty heartening to see. And I'm probably going to have to lift my game a bit too. Speaking of which, I bought new video editing software because I was using Adobe, and while Adobe's good, it's not really free, and you can get around the cost, and I felt a bit justified getting around the cost because I've spent a lot of money with Adobe over the last few years. Really have. But anyway, I got totally sick of them trying to report back to the mothership and threatening emails and things like that. So I've actually upgraded or downgraded or something graded through to Vegas Movie Studio 17, which seems pretty good and fairly easy and fairly light on resources for the computer. So I really like it so far. But I've only made one video with it and I'm still learning, and I spent most of yesterday, to be honest, that's why there's no progress on this. I spent most of yesterday messing around trying to do some tutorials and get some effects happening and up my video editing skills a bit, because I feel a little bit overwhelmed by all you guys who made TMC videos. So it's nice to have bought and proper software that it wasn't crazy expensive, but it's nice to be able to put my hand out for updates and not feel like I've got to sneak around with them. So Casual has got the right idea. Take care, Dennis. Good to see you. Stay safe. So that's what I've got anyway. So I'm still learning to use it and learning to drive the thing. It's going to take me a few videos to get up to the speed that I was at with Premiere Pro, and it's not anywhere near as top heavy sort of a program as Premiere Pro is, but it's certainly a lot quicker on a lot of things. There's a lot more practical shortcuts with it that even from only a couple of days using it, it's a bit more intuitive than Premiere Pro is. Anyway, there we go. And anyway, I've got it now, and it's downloaded and it's all installed, and they promise free updates to the next version at some point, and it seems good. That's a nice spot, John. Should be awesome. I'm not a computer person. I'm not very good at messing around with computers, which is probably where this hate sort of relationship with 3D printers comes from. I would rather not spend too much time messing around installing stuff and making things work and stepping around stuff. What I've got works, and I'd like to have software that works too, so I'm pretty pleased with it. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. I'm comfortable with it too, Tommy, but I'm really, Tom, it's not cost effective for the amount of income I get out of YouTube. So there we go. I'm glad to have it uninstalled actually, because it takes up a fair bit of space. What else is everyone else working on? We're well over the hour, so I could probably just about finish this. There will be a live event. There will be a live event the first couple of days of next month, as soon as Stephen Lang and I can sort of pin down some times. And hopefully we can get the competition sponsors in there as well on some sort of capacity. Some of them actually entered though, so they're probably not going to be we're going to have to wait their turns a little bit. Casual Seal's doing a body filler only. I'm interpreting this my way, a body filler only rebuild. That'll be interesting. Dan Shed has a boiler inspector coming this next week. That's exciting. Get some video and upload it. We really want to see. Matt says fixing the car window. We saw some updates on that. Cylinders are next on the line crankshaft. That's internal cylinders, isn't it? So that's a fun job. We start getting to bits that you can't get your fingers into. Craig, you probably can't from what I've ever seen. Yeah, Nigel, that locomotive's looking really nice. just breezing through parts that are fairly complicated. Do they have as function to display surface speed? Gosh, DRO experts. Tom and Craig, who else is here? Aid, is Aid still there? Aid's workshop? If Aid's still there, he might know that. I don't know about mine. Aid says yes. Is that a yes, he's still here, or is that a yes, he couldn't do it? DRO is for the young. I'm not sure about that, Joseph. I'm kind of getting my head around it and I like it. I have features. I have features on my DRO that I couldn't live without. Center finder and the calculator feature, and what else? Yeah, there's some really good things that I couldn't live without. Bats is probably right. It needs RPM. I don't know whether you could put a rotary encoder on hooked into it as well. I'm not sure about that. PCD feature is fantastic. The curve generation feature I've used a couple of times and it seems to be much better than I expected it would be. So pretty happy with mine. I would love one on my lathe, but I don't think that's going to happen at any point. But yeah, you've got to have the book there and you go through it. But anyway. I've still got to fit the Z-axis on my mill. At some point I'll do that too. There we go. Still got to get a scale and shorten it probably and then make some brackets. But that hasn't happened yet. Really every time I go to use the mill I wish I had. So there you go. But yeah, you could probably add a separate tacho or program your DRO to run on the tacho, which is probably fairly easy and fairly accurate too. And use that. That's always the way. Casual steel, always away. Rust knocks us back. Anyway. I'm going to call this. I think we're getting some radio silence from my end. If you're interested in machinery building, hit up Marcus, because he's a great guy. And I take back all I said about him before. He really is a nice guy, and those boys will bend over backwards. Where do we get the price list? That's the other thing. Do you have a price list? Maybe I can organise something there, Craig. Go and check out in 15 minutes. Go and check out JB's spot wielding dent puller. There you go. No, he's a nice guy. Either or, Marcus. Either or. Anyway, I'm just reading the chat out loud now. So I'm kind of done. I'm going to call this, I think. If someone posts a price list somewhere, Marcus, I'll make sure Craig gets a copy. But otherwise, check out Facebook. And we'll be, I'm going to call this. I'm going to say thanks for joining in. Take care. Good to see you all. Be safe. Wear a mask if you go out, because this thing's going to get you. If it doesn't get you this time, it'll get you next time. And be safe. Put aside your prejudice and your own opinions, and just make a bit of an effort, even if it makes you feel like an idiot, to cover up. And every little bit helps, whether it works or not. So there we go. I'm going to say good night. More soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All these guys' channels. Click on anyone's profile and go to their channel and watch a video. JB's got a video premiere up in 15 minutes, which is awesome, if you're still around. And be kind to each other, and especially to me. I'm out.